Hey everyone, so I wanted to go over something that we did not get a chance to really go over in detail, and that is the custom pathway grants for the Energy Efficiency Investment Fund from DENREC. So I'm here in our 214 course folder. So under this course documents and resources subfolder, we have this EEIF program guidelines. All right, so this is the most recent one. I just downloaded it and uploaded it here. And so we're looking at the custom pathway grant. So this is a clickable PDF. You can click on custom pathway grants here and it explains basically what you need to do to meet this, meet the standard for this. And so basically the custom pathway grants are meant for anything that doesn't fit under the prescriptive grants. Now you can always choose to do custom. It's up to you. Most people do prescriptive because it's really easy. This is what we've looked at before, right? We have a specific type of lamp. You get $3, a different type of lamp, you get $5, and so on, right? So we've looked at this for lighting. We also looked at this when you did that assignment that had the furnace replacement. Remember, you had something that was up to 550 MBH and then the 95%, 97%, and this was how much do you get per furnace. Okay, so that's prescriptive. Now they have a bunch of these in addition to what we looked at. I mean, there's mini splits, there's chillers, packaged units, there's the chiller thing, there's the water cooled chiller. Um, and so these chillers are, pretty significant. But there's all kinds of stuff here. Dishwasher, like a low temperature nozzles, spray, convection oven. I mean, there's all kinds of things, right? So anyway, we should look for, so interesting side note, I'm at my parents' house in central Pennsylvania, and they have an old school phone on the wall that actually is attached to the wall, and it has the little receiver that you hang up on. It's not even a digital phone, it's like old school with a bell. So that thing you heard was a bell from a phone, which some of you have probably never heard that before, but now you have. So anyway, so there's a bunch of things here. So we want to think about for all of our ECMs, is there a prescriptive pathway grant available to us? So we have the compressor replacement with the direct digital controls. We have the hot water timer on the hot water heater. We have the timer on the exhaust fan in the mechanical room. So none of those fits here. Like there's a VFD option if we wanted to add VFDs, which it just never really worked out with our um, in like guide banes. So anyway, it's not there. So what can you do? Well, you can go to the custom pathway. So if you look at page 11, it tells you these different custom pathways. And so basically, um, it's is and so let's see here. There's three tiers. Okay, so only one end use is the single tier. Multi-tier is a energy management system or at least two end uses. And then three or more end uses is for the what's called the comprehensive tier. Um, and so retrofit lighting is not eligible for the custom pathway, so we use the prescriptive anyway, so we're fine there. Lighting controls is not an EMS, right? So basically, we want to think: how many end uses do we have that we're addressing? Um, and so what do they mean by end uses? And so you can see here it says go to section 522. We're at 521. So let's go to 522. Accepted custom end use measure. So various building, okay, right? So space heating, that's an end use. We're not doing that. Space cooling, ventilation, I'm not quite doing that. So domestic hot water, that's one end use. Okay, there you go. That's good. Um, This it's kind of like space heating, cooling, and like sort of a whole building. It's so that ventilation fan. I mean, what is that? It's not exactly ventilation. It's really for cooling in the mechanical room, but I would say that that is fine for an end use. And then we have removing the compressor or the compressor, yeah. That it's hard to say. It's not exactly cooling. I guess you could call it a plug load. Yeah, that would be a plug load. Um, right. So that's fine. So I'm going to say we have, I don't know. See, this is where it's tricky. Is that fan in the mechanical room a plug load? Um, Probably, even though it's technically not plugged into the wall. So I would say we're safe under the multi-tier. Okay, so what does that mean? That means for every kilowatt hour per year we're saving, we get a 25-cent incentive. Now, this is not every single year. This is just based on how many we're saving per year, right? So if you are, I'm just throwing out a number there, let's say replacing this compressor, we're reducing our annual energy use by 1,000 kilowatt hours a year. So it's 1,000 times 25 cents, right? So that's $250. And that's just an upfront incentive. So how does this work? You basically show them your engineering calculation, which our calculations in my experience are sufficient to meet these standards. And if you dig through this, and you have to really look through all this. To qualify for the custom pathway, the measure must be identified in an energy assessment performed by a qualified professional. So, we're fine there. Um, yeah, right. And so you just have to show them basically your calculations, and they look at them, make sure everything looks good, up to snuff and everything. And then if they say, yeah, your calculations look good, they give you this incentive. Okay. So that's for our every kilowatt hour saved. And then for our MMBTUs for natural gas, it's $20 per MMBTU. Okay. So pretty straightforward. So what you want to do is use these as upfront rebates for any ECM, not including the lighting, that has any gas or electric savings. You do not, in case you get this question, if you're increasing the gas use slightly, then don't include that as like a negative incentive, right? That's just what you're saving. Okay. Um, so add that. And so for your spreadsheet, you want to include this calculation. I would take a little snip of this table here. I would put a link to this document, which you can easily find by just Googling Delaware EEIF. Um, you can maybe Google program guidelines. So put a link in there. In your report, you need to explain this in your energy savings summary. So you say it's going to cost this much based on the labor and the equipment, and then whatever Delaware the Department of Natural Resources and Environmental Control, or DNREC, has an Energy Efficiency Investment Fund, or EEIF, that provides custom pathway incentives. Um, and this is considered a multi-tier, which means that we receive an incentive of 25 cents per kilowatt hour saved annually and $20 for MMBTU, right? Something of that nature. So you need to explain this in your report. Um, and then, include that in your calculation. So there is a spot for this on our life cycle cost assessment spreadsheet. So it'll be easy to integrate it. Okay, so make sure you include that for anything that is not lighting, and just update your calculations. Okay, so this is important because if you're working in Delaware, you're going to end up using these as long as they're available. If you're working in another state, it just helps to be able to analyze these types of documents. So I suggest you kind of look through this and pick, figure out exactly how to determine whether or not these are eligible for yourself. Okay, so definitely use that. And then if you have any questions, just let me know.